We are with Mark, who is the writer-performer of Fishbowl. So, Mark, why don't you tell us a bit about where this play came from?
The show started as just a series of sort of unrelated character monologues that I had written. I created a couple of characters and performed them at an open mic at Buddies and Bad Times in Toronto just for fun. And Evelyn Perry, who now directs the show and has directed it ever since, suggested I try putting them together and seeing what happened with them for a unit at Buddies, a playwriting unit at Buddies. And then the show developed from there, so it's been about 3.5 years that I've been working with these characters.
Why the title Fishbowl?
That was not the original title. The original title was The Truth About Goldfish. And then there's sort of the title in this case is a good metaphor for what the play is. There are a lot of things in the show that are sort of little sort of models of the play within the play, and I think that's what this play is. It's a little fishbowl, and there are 4 little fish living in it.
I was hoping it to be something more like you got your head stuck in a fishbowl once and thought that would be a clever plot line.
No.
So the fish are just completely metaphors for your characters, I
There is
assume?
one fish in the show. This is Frank. This is the goldfish that is one of the characters' confidant. He appears in the show.
Nice. Now, do your characters have accents, or do they have different voices?
There are some speech impediments. One of the reviews we got last night accurately described one of the characters as saliva impaired.
Can you give us a demonstration?
Saliva control issues, that was the phrase.
Can you give us a
That's Esther Goody, and she tends to spit a little bit when she talks.
And how was this play received in the last tours you did?
It's been well received everywhere.
We actually won an Audience Choice Award in New York, which is really great. So yeah, everybody seems to find a character that they can relate to.
You said you did stand-up before, so you had to do a joke, right? You tell us a joke.
Oh, I'll tell you my favorite knock knock joke.
Okay.
It's an old one, but it's my absolute favorite. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow. I knew it was coming, but I had to play it out.
We are from Twisted by Design. My name is Christina Bryson.
And I'm Margaret Rare, and our show is called White
Noise. It's our first production together as an ensemble. We created it this past year and our last year at University of Windsor. So this is sort of the second revamping, working it again for the Ottawa community because it's based on a local Ottawa story.
The story of Nadia Kajuji, who is a Carleton student who in the winter-spring of 2008 took her own life. But upon researching and going through her computer, they found that she had been having online conversations with a woman, who we later find out is a man, in Minnesota, who was prompting her in an internet predator sort of way to take her own life.
So, yeah, it sounds pretty heavy, but we thought it was an important story, especially for the Ottawa community, to keep alive and explore in a creative, theatrical way. We try to use a lot of our training. We do use a lot of our training from university, including a lot of physical theater. So we tell a bigger story and sort of look at the big picture of mental health and technology and how we can save ourselves and where the sort of gray areas lie. It's very Canadian too, lots of cold ice monsters.
Yeah.
So what was it that drew you guys to this story initially and to decide to put this together for Fringe?
Well, we were looking for a play to do at university because we wanted to do something else in our 4th year. And we were looking for something that was Canadian written, and for 2 young females, and that's pretty much impossible to find.
It's really hard.
So we started talking about sort of what issues are important to us, and mental health came up, the internet came up, and so we started trying to think of ways to put that together, and the story of Nadia sort of presented itself to us, and we thought, what a great way to, be topical and use theater in a, sort of social action way and tell her story.
We have 2 video blogs that she took of herself, completely verbatim, and all the chats back and forth between her and Cami. Yeah, so most of Nadia's part is written for us almost, but internet source material.
Great. And you said that it started off as a 2-person play. When did the cast expand?
Yeah, we started talking about it last year, just the 2 of us, and then we sort of realized that we wanted more to help, again, tell it in a more creative, physically involved way. So
we've also sort of woven in, because Nadia took her life by jumping into the canal during a snowstorm, we were thinking about, the ice and the cold, and there's this Robert Munch book that we both knew from our childhood, where they talk about this Canadian monster. It's an Inuit folklore tale called the Kaluppalut. And we thought, wow, like what an interesting idea. These monsters lure and tap under the ice for children to come closer, and this man was tapping on his keyboard to lure her into thoughts to take her own life. So we thought, how are we going to represent that?
So we added a chorus of 3 other young women, fellow graduates of ours. So they play monsters, they're involved in a lot of movement pieces, they play everything sort of else that we need to flush out the story so it's not just, too talky and depressing.
What we're trained in Windsor is lots of different styles of movement, but in particular that was really important for the show is contact improvisation, which is just 2 or plus bodies moving in motion together. We're like the very, very basic form of what they would do in like Cirque du Soleil and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Sharing weight, discovering how we can, lift and share weight to tell a story with our bodies and not necessarily just our words. So that's something we were trained in. So the pieces that you see in the piece when you come and see it are ensemble created. There's no choreographer per se. We all just sort of worked together and came up with some movement.
They do this one lift where they get Christina like as high as you possibly could, like lifted up, like with their arms locked, and you think like, how can 3 little women do that? But they know how to use their bodies, and it's incredible that they can just pop her up there.
So you have full trust in your chorus then?
Yes,
oh,
completely.
Yeah.
I have no choice.
Have to.
Yeah, I'm airborne for a good majority of it.
I guess the most important question now is, have they ever dropped you?
No.
There's been like in rehearsals some like awkward moments where it's like, oh, okay, that kind of hurts.
You're not quite in the right
okay,
spot.
We should move now. But there's never been like a
crash on the head. Yeah. Both of us are from Ottawa, which is another reason we have always known of the story and thought it was important to bring to the community. We both went to Canterbury High School. It sort of set our foundation for theatre and continued on. And now this is sort of our first presentation to the world of what we have to offer.
When I used to live in Ottawa growing up, I thought like, no, Ottawa's okay. And then I went to university to Windsor, and coming back to Ottawa every time since then has been like such a pleasure. This is such a great city, and I didn't realize it sort of until I left and had to come back. So I thoroughly appreciate Ottawa more than I ever have.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of green space.
Lots of theater.
Yeah. Bold and interesting, artsy, edgy theater and arts community in general, which I never really realized before. So I'm really happy that we're a part of that now, hopefully, and that we're bold emerging artists to look out for. Gametes and Gonads is a very well-written, funny one-man show. He plays all the sperm army. It's well done. Yeah.
And our fellow Windsor grads are presenting Trash Man's Dilemma. It's 3 guys who graduated with us. It's sort of like a psychological thriller, dark comedy-esque show set in a post-apocalyptic world. So if you're into like sci-fi, action, psychological thriller, that sort of thing, I would definitely check it out. Also, they switch roles every night, so you'll always be getting a different show. It might be on TV in September.
There you go.
Well, tell us about that.
A couple weeks ago I auditioned for the Over the Rainbow Search for Dorothy TV show, and they're they're sending me on the train tomorrow and putting me up at a hotel for the callbacks, and sort of I'll find out over the next few days if I make it to the top 20, and if I do, then come September.
She will.
So it's a reality type show?
Yeah.
But the prize is a stage production, so
How big is the production?
It's
Mervish.
Mervish's
Okay.
production of The Wizard of Oz, so it would
Pretty
be
big.
like at the Royal Alex or something.
No big deal.
So it's a big... Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're very proud of her.
And if you get eliminated or you think you're going to, make sure you make a big scene so that you at least get on TV.
Yeah. That's a good point,
I don't know if I'm
actually.
that good at it.
Here I am with one of the most beautiful actresses here in Fringe who's going to introduce herself and tell us what show she's in.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm in Space Mystery from Outer Space, playing in Arts Court Theatre. Space Mystery from Outer Space is an adventure that takes a film noir detective and a sassy dame out into outer space, where they encounter a mad scientist and a very large lizard, and adventure expounds from there.
And how over the top is it?
It's so over the top. My voice hurts a little bit after the end of every show. We also have a live band, which is also great and just adds to how fantastically extraordinary everything is.
Could you tell me a bit about developing this show and what it was like putting it together?
Honestly, it was just a lot of fun. We did a lot of workshopping. The script's been through quite a few edits. The guy that wrote it, Jeremy Doran, I believe is his name, just sent us quite a few scripts as we're going through going, no, it's too long, we need it shorter. And so it was a lot of workshopping and kind of bouncing ideas off each other. Mike Doran, the director, was great, gave us awesome things to work with, and also let us go a little crazy whenever we wanted to as well, which was a lot of fun.
Nice. So what's your background?
I worked with Sock and Buskin for the last 4 years at Carleton. I just graduated, so we've passed the torch. There's a new executive now. I used to be the Queen of Talent. They got me to make up my own title. That was what I chose. And now I'm going to Ottawa U for law, actually, and hoping to do more theater as I go. Well, on the Sock and Buskin executive, we did basically most of the set building and just filled in wherever we were needed, so we were kind of wearing many hats at many times, and so I did a lot of costumes and set painting and that kind of stuff, and so it's been a while since I've actually been able to be on stage, so this week has just been amazing. Hip-hop Shakespeare live music video, it was amazing. I love hip-hop and I love Shakespeare, and if you're seeing this, I need the stencil that you use for the Shutter Shake Shakespeare. It's going in my apartment. It's an awesome, and it's brilliant. The lyrics are brilliant. Donkey Derby, because Tess McManus is a goddess, and I just enjoy listening to her anyway, so I would totally just love to sit and listen to her for a while.
Final words.
Come see Space Mystery from Outer Space. It's so much fun, and I don't wear very much clothing.
Can't give better recommendation than that.
Bye!